Hello everybody and welcome to Game A Dayer. It is day 329 here on Game A Dayer. My name is Step and today it is a Sunday, which means of course it is a Storytime Sunday. And today for Storytime Sunday Storytime, we are going to be playing The Grand Ball. The year is 1882 and Queen Victoria and the British Empire is at the height of its power. Sadly, House Blakely, one of Britain's oldest noble families, does not share in the Emperor's good fortunes. It has fallen to you, as the eldest son, to restore it to its past glory. This game has mostly positive reviews, and is available on Steam for $5.49 or $6.14 if you want the soundtrack. And I don't know. I reading that description seems like maybe there could be some amusement to be had with trying to wheel and deal your family and not only have like the love interest but figure out what's best for family, etc. I don't know. Anyway, if you want to get your own copy, you can pick that up on Steam. But first, why not join us while we play it? The Grand Ball. Preferences, you say? Wait. Cool. Yeah, let's just hop in. The Grand Ball is set in Victorian Britain, and after thorough historical research, we have tried to make this visual novel as authentic as possible, while reading is too fast for me to read. Please bear in mind that this is inspired by historical events and characters, and the views expressed by the characters do not necessarily Oh, sure, now you give me a chance to read before just throwing us to the next screen. Whatever. Thursday, 21st September, 1882. Harrington Hall, family estate of House Blakely, Mansfield, Nottinghamshire. Viscount Blakely, Edgar, my son, come join me for a moment. There is something of dire importance that I must discuss with you. Please take a seat, as this news may distress you. It certainly has upset me. What troubles you, father? I have just received word from my old friend Admiral Cooper that one of our cutters has sunk off the coast of Chile. Uh-oh. My god, that's terrible news. Which cutter did we lose? Unfortunately, we lost Atlantis. Why would you name a ship Atlantis? No! Not Atlantis! She was the flagship of our trading fleet. Our fastest and largest ship. What happened? She ran foul of a storm coming in from Cape Horn that drove her through some shoals that tore up her hull. And the crew? All lost to the cruelty of the sea, except the cabin boy and the bosun's mate. What tragic news indeed. What's worse is that we had just finished paying for that ship, and on top of that, she went down carrying a full shipment of cloth bound for Santiago. Oh my. You understand what this means for us? I believe I do, but I dare not utter the words. You must learn to be a man and face the harsh realities of life. And the reality is that our house is in deep trouble. We borrowed heavily to invest in purchasing Atlantis and all that cloth. It was our last-ditch attempt to save our family's finances. Damn this terrible luck. It seems that this wretched family curse continues to plague us. What options remain for us, father? Not many, I'm afraid. Marry a rich bitch. It looks like we may have to sell Harrington Hall and many of our ancestral lands in order to settle our debts. No! How could we come to this? Are we not one of Britain's great houses? Not anymore, son. House Blakely has been at the forefront of the English nobility for nearly 600 years. Our knights taking center stage in famous battles like Agincourt and Poitiers. Poitiers? Gone are the days when members of House Blakely led Britain's armies and stood for her in Parliament. Not to fret, Father. I believe I have a solution. We will not need to sell Harrington Hall. Solution? What madness do you speak of, son? Just this morning we received an invitation from Lady Amelia Camberwell to attend her grand autumn ball this Saturday. Yes, she invites us every year. The Camberwells have always been good friends to House Blakely. Despite our clan's diminishing influence, they always invite us to their grand autumn ball every year. Your mother enjoys it ever so much. It really is one of the most lavish and prestigious events of the year. Precisely. Whatever you do means, son. Did you not once tell me that the creme de la creme of British, nay, European society attends that ball every year? Yes, of course. Lady Camberwell is known for throwing the best balls in the entire country. So allow me to represent our family this year. That is ludicrous. The invitation is addressed to your mother and I. Indeed it is, Father, but can you not see the opportunity we have here? If the best of British society is going to attend this party, then the richest heiresses will also be in attendance. I am of marriageable age, am I not? If you would allow me to go to this ball, perhaps I can charm a daughter of a wealthy family. If I can do this, then maybe I will have the means to save our house from this unfortunate path we seem to be heading towards. Son, this sounds so desperate. I am not sure this is a good idea. But we are desperate, Father. Are we really prepared to sacrifice the lands that our clan has held for over 500 years? I think not. Father, please allow me to do this to save our family from its troubles. I am ashamed that we have come to this. Nevertheless, it seems like we have no choice. Very well, then, son. You will go in our stead. Thank you, Father. No, thank you, son. The Vicomte wipes a tear from his eye. I'm very proud of you. Your mother raised you very well. You have a noble heart, and you put others ahead of yourself. You give me too much credit, Father. No, I really do not. In you I see 600 years of Blakely knighthood. Do me proud, son. I will, Father. So, marry a rich bitch. Saturday, 23rd September, 1882. Good evening, sir. That's not what I expect a butler to look like, but it's what I expect a butler to sound like. Welcome to Lady Camberwell's autumn ball. May I take your coat, sir? Yes, thank you ever so much. It is my pleasure. May I trouble you for your invitation, sir? My invitation? Yes, the letter that was sent to you granting you an invitation to this glorious event. May I have it, please? Certainly. May I ask what you need it for? So that I can announce your entrance as you enter the ballroom. Yes, of course. I'm terribly sorry. It's been years since I've been to one of these. I've simply forgotten how things go. I understand, sir. Not to worry. I am sure that you'll be back in practice in no time. I certainly hope so. Here's my invitation. You hand over your invitation to the butler. Thank you. Ah, Vicomte Blakely. Welcome to Worcester Abbey, my lord. Well, actually, I'm Edward Blakely, the eldest son of Frederick Blakely, Vicomte Blakely. Unfortunately, my father had an important affair to attend to and has sent me in his stead to represent House Blakely. I understand. Please follow me to the bell room, if you'd be so kind. Certainly. Lady Chamberwell, I present you Edgar Blakely, son of Vicomte Blakely. Lovely. Thank you, Jameson. It is an honor to make your acquaintance, milady. Thank you ever so much for your kind invitation to this magnificent ball. Please, our families have maintained close ties dating back to the Glorious Revolution. It goes without saying that our doors are always open to any member of House Blakely. You are too kind, my lady. So, how is your father? He is still mourning the passing of his older brother, but he keeps himself busy with his work. He never expected to inherit the title of Vicomte, but has accustomed himself to the responsibilities involved with it. You know my father? Not as well as I'd like to. I believe he has only attended my autumn ball 4 times. Ah, yes, before that it was my uncle who attended, wasn't it? Indeed it was. Your uncle really was such a sweet man. I knew him well and was devastated to hear his passing. Consumption really is a terrible disease, isn't it? Indeed it is. It matters not whether one is rich or poor. It seems this ghastly disease targets with no discrimination. Yes, it seems this awful malady really seems to spread faster in the ghettos and industrial housing sector. Okay. One must really make a point of avoiding these parts of the city at all costs. Yes, that is very true, my lady. Is there something wrong, Mr. Blakely? Well, I do hope you forgive me for asking you, my lady, but where are your other guests? Well, they haven't arrived yet. You're the first guest. What? But your invitation stated that the ball was to start at 7 in the evening. That is true, but customarily guests often try to arrive a bit later than that. Why would they do that? So they don't have to awkwardly converse alone with a host that they may or may not know too well. Oh! Oh my! I am ever so sorry, my lady. Mr. Blakely, I'm pulling your leg. Lady Amelia releases a loud and hearty laugh. Someone had to come first, and this time it is you. Normally, only someone that is close to the host would dare to come so early, but I appreciate your punctuality. Again, my apologies, my lady. Please, don't apologize. I have thoroughly enjoyed our conversation about death and consumption. Lady Amelia turns around and waves to Jameson, who has been patiently waiting by the door. Jameson, come over here, please. You called, my lady? Jameson, dear, if you could be so kind, please give Mr. Blakely here a small tour of the estate. It would be my pleasure, my lady. Mr. Blakely, please allow Jameson to show you around. I must tend to some other details in preparation of my ball. I assure you that upon your return there will be many more guests for you to converse with. You are too kind, my lady. If you'll excuse me. If you would kindly follow me, sir. Certainly. The dining hall. This is the main dining room where you will be served supper later. The frescoes you see on the wall and ceiling were hand-painted by a group of artists from Florence. The stained glass windows you see to the left were ordered from the same glass blowers that supply Reims Cathedral. Oh, wonderful! The large mahogany dining table you see here was brought over by Lady Amelia's grandfather, Lord Henry Camberwell, who served as governor of Jamaica. Oh, wonderful. Mr. Blakely, if you're not interested in the tour, I am more than happy to stop. I'm merely doing this as Lady Amelia has requested me to do so. If you would rather I fetch you a glass of port, I will gladly oblige. No, please, forgive my rudeness, Jameson. It's just that I got the impression that I may have offended Lady Amelia during our conversation, and I keep running through the conversation in my mind. You were in the room with us. Did you overhear our conversation? Do you think I said anything offensive? Nothing you said was particularly offensive, my lord, but your actions were somehow... how can I put it? Rough. How so? Well, as Lady Amelia said, coming so early to an event where you are not close to the host is rather poor etiquette. Honestly speaking, she called me to give you a tour as she had begun to feel uncomfortable. What? Oh no. I must apologize to Lady Amelia right away. I really would not recommend that, sir. I feel that would make things far, far worse. Yes, you are right. I'm terribly sorry. Try not to worry so much. Fortunately for you, Lady Amelia is very understanding. She received her title at a relatively young age and has thus been exposed to a lot of society. She is mature beyond her years and will not hold this against you. I assure you. Thank you, Jameson. That certainly puts my mind at ease. If I may be so bold, my lord, it seems that you are not too accustomed to this sort of thing. I would be lying if I said it wasn't true. Were you not instructed in the ways of British high society? I mean, your father is a Viscount. Surely he would have groomed you to eventually take his place. That's the thing. My father never imagined that his brother would die and that he would inherit his father's title. Of course, I received lessons in elocution and manners in my youth, but my studies were more focused on maritime trade, as that is the business my father went into. I understand. How about this, then? How about I help you out tonight? Give you advice and warnings. Be a guardian angel of sort. What do you say? You would do that for me? Of course I would. For a fee, of course. Oh. My old man always told me, son, if you ever get good at doing anything, never offer to do it for free. I think 200 shillings sounds fair. 200 shillings is worth £10. So that's the pound sign, right? In 1882, £10 is worth about £1,100 today, or $1,400. 200 shilling? You must be out of your mind. Mere pocket change for the son of a Viscount like yourself. I don't have 200 shillings on me tonight. Then you have come poorly equipped. Jameson sighs and rubs his brow. Very well, you seem like the a kind person, so I will lower my price. 100 shillings in cash tonight. What do you say, my lord? I'm sorry, but that is far too rich for me. I cannot afford it. My lord, going down there blind may cost you and your family more than the value of a mere 100 shillings. I highly recommend that you reconsider. Very well, suit yourself. Best of luck with everything tonight, then. I believe I hear more guests arriving. I recommend that you go downstairs and join them. We don't need no stinking butler. We can buttle our own selves. Mr. Blakely, come! There is someone I think I would like to introduce you to. Captain Matthews, this is Edgar Blakely, the son and heir of the Viscount Blakely. Mr. Blakely, this is Captain Richard Matthews of the 80th Regiment of Foot. His regiment served bravely in the Zulu Wars in Cape Colony, and is now stationed in Ireland to quell the rebels there. Yeah, good job with that. It's an honor to make your acquaintance, Captain. The honor is all mine, old sport. Would you be related to Vice Admiral Rupert Blakely? Yes, he was my great-grandfather's brother. I thought you would be. My grandfather served with him in the Nile. Oh, did he? What a small world. Well, when it comes to protecting our great empire, a certain few families have stood at the forefront, and it's an honor to say that both of our houses have served our nation in this respect. Indeed it is. House Blakely has a long history of military service. Have you not thought of serving our great empire in such a fashion? I hate imperialism. If I'm honest, I really did not fancy the life of a soldier for myself. Oh? Why so? Both my parents come from families with long military traditions, and I have seen that it is hard to maintain both a successful family life and a rising military career. For example, one of my mother's sisters is married to a Royal Navy captain and is never home. His children barely know who he is, and they maintain a distant relationship as he is never home. Then, one of my older cousins fought and died in the Battle of Isandlwana 3 years ago. I've seen how his wife and children were devastated by the loss. I wish not to give my own family this sort of grief. While I respectfully disagree with your statement about having both a successful family life and military career, I nonetheless wish to express my absolute admiration and sympathy for your cousin, and I'm sorry for your loss. Thank you, Captain. Yes, that is true. I completely agree with the Captain. You are too kind, my lady. Now, I must press you to tell us the story about your time in Africa. Well, if you insist, I suppose I do not have any choice, do I? No, you do not, Captain. Very well. Then have I ever told you the story of the Mzimvubu man-killer? Mzimvubu? No, you have not. Please regale us with this tale. Yes, this story sounds most intriguing. Oh, I don't know how exciting it will be for you. You are such a tease, Captain. I implore you to begin the story forthwith. It was August 1879, and my regiment was camped by the Mzimvubu River. We were stationed there to accompany the Royal Engineers and the Sepoy laborers as they were completing a new bridge over Zimvubu River. Just on the second night of the project, one of our camps was attacked at night. The Sepoys heard roars and screams, and when everyone woke up and lit the fires, they found 2 tents at the edge of the camp that had been torn up and were filled with blood. The bodies nowhere to be found. That's terrifying. Indeed it was. My commanding officer assigned a young lieutenant, called Roger Morrow, and I to investigate the matter. Initially, we suspected that perhaps there may have been some foul play between the Sepoys. After all, they were known to gamble with each other after work hours, and this could have been revenge. Anyway, As we began investigating the torn-up tents, we realized that the extent of the destruction of the tent and the disappearance of the two bodies made it unlikely that it was a murder. Why do you say that? In the time between the roars and screams being heard and the only guard on duty reaching the torn tents was 2 minutes at most, insufficient time to tear the tents apart so savagely, murder the occupants, and then take the bodies away. Furthermore, we found large paw marks around the tents and a trail of blood leading into the jungle. Lions! Precisely. So, what did you do next? Well, Lieutenant Morrow and I knew that we had no other choice but to hunt the beast down. It had tasted the flavor of man flesh and would never cease hunting men to its dying day. Yeah, because that's how that works. So Lieutenant Morrow and I packed a week's provisions, loaded up our rifles, and went to track this terrible fiend. After 2 intense days of tracking the animal through the African bush, we found its trail leading to a small and windy hill. Lieutenant Morrow and I climbed the hill, and then as we reached the top, we could no longer find any trace of the beast. From the hill, we saw a small stream in the valley. We had just emptied our flasks, so we decided to go to the stream to refill them. When we got there and began filling our flasks, we suddenly heard a mighty roar. We turned left, and not 40 yards from us was the mighty lion charging towards us. Lieutenant Morrow and I both got one shot into the beast, but it shot forward like a bolt of lightning. It leapt onto the young lieutenant, seemingly unaffected by the shots we had fired at it, and mauled him. I lined up my rifle to try to shoot the lion in its head, when suddenly it dropped Lieutenant Morrow from its jaws and turned to me. I pulled the trigger, but no bang came from my gun. It had jammed. The lion, detecting the peril I was in, began charging at me. As if by instinct, I drew my saber, and just as the lion's jaw reached my face, I thrust my sword through its throat and sliced off its head. Incredible! What a hero! But what happened to Lieutenant Morrow? Unfortunately, the mauling from the lion left the younger lieutenant mortally wounded. When I reached him, he grabbed my tunic and said with his last breath, "Captain Matthews, it was an honor serving under you. The British Army has no finer officer than you." I then buried him at that valley and brought the lion's head back to the camp, where I gave it to my commanding officer as a gift. Bravo! What a thrilling story. Oh, such an exciting story has brought a thirst out of me. I'm going to go and get another glass of port. Please do not begin another story without me, Captain. I would never dare. Maybe I should have a glass of port. I've got port here from Portugal. So, do you have any hobbies, Captain? I certainly do, Mr. Blakely. When I'm not busy with my duties serving the Queen, then I do enjoy a nice spot of hunting. Oh, a huntsman. Well, after hearing your lion story, I'm certainly not surprised. How about you, Mr. Blakely? Have you ever been hunting? Why, yes, I have. My grandfather was rather fond of the sport, and I often went with him. Splendid! What did you hunt? Mostly either foxes or boars. Every now and then, though, we got lucky and got to hunt a deer. Ah, yes, deer hunting is a lot of fun. You know what? Lady Chamberwell's property has a lot of deer. As a matter of fact, she was telling me that she has too many, and quite a few with have dared her into her personal garden and eaten her tulips. Oh, how dastardly of them! How about we do a spot of hunting now, old sport? Like this very instance? Absolutely. Lady Camberwell's gamekeeper just got his hands on the newest Colt rifles from America. I tried them out just the other week, and they have the smoothest action you could possibly imagine. I would love to, but would it not be a bit rude to disappear in the middle of a party? Nonsense. The party has hardly started, and not half of the guests have arrived yet. Come on, old sport. Don't be a wet rag. Well, if you really insist, that's fine. Yes, I do insist. This seems bizarre. It's awfully dark out here, Captain Matthews. I hardly think we'll be able to spot any deer, let alone land any shots on any of them. Nonsense, man. It's a full moon tonight. Besides, a true hunter uses all their senses to kill their target. If you listen carefully, you can hear the deer. There. I hear him. Blakely, go and chase him around the trees. I'll bank left and flank him. He should be an easy shot for the ridge over there. Yeah, this is not going to go bad at all. You begin running after the deer. It's cold, dark, and wet, and you're not sure whether you're running in the right direction, but you madly follow the sound of deer's hooves as they patter against the muddy ground. Captain Matthews climbs up onto the ridge and shouts at you. Good job there, Blakely. I have it in my sights now. Captain Matthews misses and hits you right in the chest. You die instantly. Bad ending. Boy, I didn't see that coming at all. Alright. Can we... There doesn't seem to be any way to, Alright. We'll just skip forward a little bit. Get back to where we were. So, I think we'll take the butler up on his offer of help this time. It's a very pretty character model. It looks like a porcelain doll, but I don't know if you can see her neck. It looks like it's about a third of the size of a normal person's neck. Accept Jameson's services. You hand over the 100 shillings to Jameson. Excellent choice, my lord. A sound investment that you will not regret. I most certainly hope not. I believe I hear more guests arriving. We must return to the ballroom. Make haste. Good to see there are more guests now. I believe that Lady Amelia is waving me over. And she is, but before you head over, allow me to tell you something about the man she is speaking with. That is Captain Richard Matthews, an officer of the 80th Regiment of Foot, an infantry regiment that served in the Zulu War in Cape Colony. He is the son of Field Marshal Sir Alexander Matthews, a close friend to both the late Prince Albert and our Queen Victoria. Well, my family has a strong military and naval history, so I believe he and I will make fast friends. No doubt about it, my lord, but I urge you to be cautious. Why so? Soon after the 80th Regiment of Foot returned from Africa, rumors arose about Captain Matthews. What sort of rumors? There are stories about Captain Matthews claiming that his time fighting in the war against Zulu made him an absolute maniac, a savage, and a sociopath. Can you grace me with one of those stories? Certainly, my lord. The rumors claim that after hearing about the fame of mighty Zulu warriors, he became obsessed with the idea of defeating a Zulu warrior in hand-to-hand combat. Well, didn't he get a chance to do so in battle? Now, as you should know, in battle, the regiment uses rifles. Any man breaking ranks and stepping away from the line of battle to use a sword would be considered a madman, and an officer doing such a thing would certainly lose his commission in a heartbeat. So instead, Captain Matthews would insist on having a captured Zulu enemy to be brought to him for a duel. He would offer this Zulu warrior freedom if he could beat him. That doesn't sound so bad. Well, unfortunately, the duel is not what you and I would imagine as a duel. He would equip the poor Zulu warrior with a wooden stick, and he would fight using a saber. Of course, with such a terrible mismatch, he would normally win, but every now and then he would face an extremely skilled Zulu warrior that was able to outfox him despite being so poorly armed. So what happened in those situations? Well, unbeknownst to his opponent, Captain Matthews would have his service revolver tucked inside his tunic. If he felt the fight was not going his way, he would simply shoot the Zulu warrior to ensure his victory. What a coward! Surely he must have been reprimanded or punished by his superior officers for such behavior. Well, that's the thing. With his father being so extremely powerful in the army, many of his commanding officers were too afraid of reprimanding him, let alone taking punitive action against his conduct. My goodness! It doesn't end there. There's another story about a young lieutenant who wanted to write a report about Captain Matthews and his abhorrent treatment of war prisoners. Apparently, Captain Matthews got his hand on the report, and lo and behold, that young lieutenant's tent appeared to suffer a lion attack the next night. They never found the body. Don't these stories sound rather fanciful to you? I can hardly imagine such a monster existing in the army. I mean, where did you hear these stories from? His staff sergeant is the brother of our gamekeeper here. That's where I heard about all this. Rather chilling. I have heard the same stories about Captain Matthews from other sources, which only corroborates these claims further. That is worrisome, but I can hardly ignore the invitation from Lady Amelia. What should I do? I do agree that ignoring Lady Amelia would be extremely rude and definitely a faux pas, considering your most recent interaction. No, I recommend you join them in conversation, but just keep a courteous distance from Captain Matthews. Understood. Avoid Captain Matthews. Yes, but don't antagonize him either. He is, after all, an extremely well-connected individual and may decide to make your life hell if he begins to get strange feelings about your character. A fine balance must be kept. I understand. Precisely. But whatever you do, do not be alone with him. Like, we had to have the butler tell us this? Like it was not understandably a terrible idea to go deer hunting? There was no option for me to say no. Now go. We've spoken too long. I'll approach again once your conversation ends. Thank you, Jameson. Mr. Blakely, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so. Alright, so, I didn't want a military life. If I'm honest, I really didn't fancy being a soldier. Because I want my children to know who I am. Wink, wink. I want children. I'd be a good daddy. You should marry me. At this point I can excuse myself. Huh. I'm terribly sorry, but but you will have to excuse me as I see an old friend around the corner. Oh, what a pity. Captain Matthews does tell the best stories. Are you sure you would rather not stay? I don't believe your friend is going anywhere. My lady is clear that Mr. Blakely has something very important to discuss with his friend. Surely more important than an old soldier's tale. Captain Matthews, you can hardly consider yourself old. You're just 30 years old. Oh, but the years in Africa have aged me so. Well, one can only wish that one could endure Africa as well as you have, Captain. You are too kind, Mr. Blakely. Now I must take my leave. Excuse me. Well, how did it go, sir? Not bad at all, Jameson. Actually, the Captain Matthews seems like quite an upright fellow. I can hardly believe those rumors you told me about him. Captain Matthews is very intelligent and an excellent actor, but rest assured, my lord, that beneath that friendly and charming facade lays a murderous maniac. So who do you recommend I speak to next? Do you see that lady over there wearing the green dress? With the auburn hair and emerald eyes? Precisely, sir. That is Christine Richmond. Potentially one of the most aptly named people you could ever meet. Why do you say that? Because she's one of the wealthiest heiresses you could ever hope to meet. Really? Tell me more. Certainly, sir. Her father owns a prestigious Pennsylvania Railroad Corporation. The company awarded the contract to rebuild all the railways in the South after their destruction in the American Civil War. Her father also owns various steel manufacturing plants and a Philadelphia newspaper, too. Interesting. So she's American, then? Yes, don't you know? The world is changing ever so quickly. Now all the richest people are Americans. You would do well to get yourself an American bride. Wait, how did you... Oh, Mr. Blakely, do you really think that you are the only disenfranchised noble here looking for better fortunes? There are dozens of young second and third sons and daughters scouring the ballroom looking for passage to the new world. Fortunately for you, you had the good sense to hire me, and I will be the most invaluable ally to you in securing an excellent future for yourself. Jameson. Anyway, you must act now, sir, before some other suitor goes to talk to her. Make haste. You approach Christine and find her staring at the entrees being served. Neither of these are very nice things to say. You look a bit confused. Can I help you? I'm just taking a look at these entrees being served. I've never seen a lot of them before. Food with an Indian flair is all the rage in British high society these days, thanks to our conquest of India. So, we have food from all over the subcontinent premiering in every gala. Clearly. I detect a bit of an accent off you. American? That is correct. Bet I stick out like a sore thumb around here. I quite like the sound of an American accent. It has a subtle clarity to it that I find highly attractive. Okay, let's have a little aside here. The American accent, especially I think the American like Midwest, was the original accent of English. British English came around when the snooty Brits decided they wanted to not pronounce things the way Americans did. And I find it hilarious that nobody seems to realize that American English is actually older than British English. So, carrying on. Thank you. That's the first time I've ever heard anyone say that. My name is Christine Richmond. It's a pleasure to meet you. I'm Edgar Blakely. The pleasure is all mine. So, what brings you here to England? My father is turning 60 this year, so we decided to go do a grand tour of Europe. That sounds lovely. What countries are you visiting? Actually, England is the last stop on our tour. We docked in Amsterdam, and from there we took the train to Frankfurt and then Berlin. After that, we went to Vienna, and from there went to Milan, then Rome, then spent 2 enchanting weeks in Paris. That is quite an adventure you're out on. You must have been traveling for a while. Yes, we've been touring for nearly 2 months now, and that's not even including the voyage from New York to Amsterdam across the Atlantic. Well, at least you've got your money's worth from your cruise over. This is true. So, how do you like Europe? Europe was certainly, was everything I dreamed it to be and more. Ever since I was a little girl, I dreamed of walking the streets of Vienna, having breakfast in the cafe in Paris, and watching the opera in Berlin. Seems you are quite the Europhile. Yes, that describes me perfectly. How about England? How do you like it here? London reminded me a lot of the other East Coast major cities like Boston and Philadelphia, so I don't find it that exciting. But I absolutely love the countryside here in the Midlands, especially here in Derbyshire. I can see why they call this place the Garden of Britain. I also really enjoyed visiting all the castles you have in Scotland and Wales. Blakely, you are one sneaky fox keeping this rose away from the rest of us. I never intended to do anything of the like. I'm just pulling your leg, Mr. Blakely. Can't you tell? Captain Matthews, how have you enjoyed the ball so far? A lot more now that there are more people around. Didn't I tell you that you could start calling me Richard? I must have forgotten. I met so many people that day, and I could only remember so much for each person. I guess the thing I remembered about you was that you were an army captain, and that your last name is Matthews. Well, I insist you start calling me Richard post-haste. If you insist, Richard. There, see? That wasn't so hard, was it, Christine? No, it wasn't. I'm terribly sorry, but you will have to excuse me as I have not greeted our host yet, and I see an opportunity to do so now. I see you've met Ms. Richmond before. Yes, I met her at a dinner party hosted by the American ambassador last week. And I see you've taken quite a liking to her. Oh, whenever I see a beautiful woman, I can't help myself. So, you admit you have feelings for her? Please, Mr. Blakely, I'm not some innocent schoolboy with a crush. I cast my net far and wide. That may be so... Oh, yeah, shameful. That may be so, Blakely, but it's awfully effective. One of the first lessons I learned when I was an officer in training was to always scout the field before advancing my troops. So, Do you have any hobbies, Captain? I certainly do, Mr. Blakely. When I'm not busy with my duties serving Queen, I like a good spot of hunting. Oh, a huntsman. After hearing your lion story, I'm not surprised. I didn't hear your lion story. How about you, Mr. Blakely? Have you ever been hunting? Blah, blah. Yes, I have. My grandfather did a thing. What do you hunt? Foxes and deer. Let's go hunting. Let's not go hunting. Are they seriously going hunting? This is the same thing. The same dialogue. Decline. I'm terribly sorry, Captain, but I must decline. I feel it would offend Lady Amelia terribly if we left now. Fine. Suit yourself. Perhaps I will walk around the ballroom for a while and see if I can find any real men around. Well, what a pity. You were starting so well with Miss Richmond. Indeed. If only that ruffian Matthews hadn't interrupted us. I suspect he will continue to be a thorn in your side for the rest of the evening, so keep your wits about you. I understand. Jameson gives you an encouraging pat on the shoulder. Don't look so glum, sir. The night is still young, and you will still have many more chances to talk to Miss Richmond. I certainly hope so. You spot Lady Chamberwell's waving you at you from the other side of the room, but safe. We'll have to wait to find out what she wants until later or some other time, because that is going to be it for us for today. Thank you so much for joining me here on Gametair today while we explored the enchanting Grand Ball. If you enjoyed this video, please give it the old thumbs up, give it some love. Also, let me know what you think in the comments down below. Let me know if you enjoy these videos, if you'd prefer to see something else on Sundays. I'm always up to trying new things. If you think there's some other style of game that could still be considered storytelling, let me know. I enjoy these games, but I know they're not everyone's thing. Anyway, if you did really enjoy this game and want to see the rest of it, remember that the first video on this channel to get 100 likes, we'll get that game a full playthrough as a bonus video for the channel. So if you want that game to be the Grand Ball, then all you need to do is give it the old thumbs up and have your family, friends, pets, and loved ones do the same. I have been Step. This has been the Grand Ball. Thank you so much for joining me. If you are not yet subscribed to the channel, please hit that subscribe button, and when you do, don't forget to hit that dingy bell, because that will let you know when I upload new videos, which I do every single day. Thanks so much for joining me here today on Gametair, and please come back tomorrow when we'll be playing something for Mobile Monday. Thanks, everybody.